Hi there. Today we're going to be finding the product of three groups of 23 using place value discs. To begin, let's look at 23 and say it in unit form. We know that 23 in unit form is 2 10s and 3 1s. So using discs, we can write this in our place value chart. We can show 2 10s and 3 1s. Now we know to multiply, we want to find 3 copies of 23. One's already taken care of, so now we're going to show 2 more copies of 23 using our place value chart. And 1 more copy for a total of 3 copies. Now to solve this equation, we want to start with the total value in the ones column. We know that 3 groups of 3 1s is equal to 9 1s. Simultaneously, we can be checking this using the standard algorithm. We know that 3 groups of 3 1s is 9 1s. From here, we can move to the tens column. And we know here that if we have 3 groups of 2 10s, we are indeed going to find, we'll do an arrow down here to show, that we have 6 10s. If we come over to our standard algorithm, we can move to the next line and know that 3 groups of 2 10s is 6 10s. Now we can look at our problem and say, well, 6 10s plus, if we want to look over here at the 9 1s, we can rewrite it, plus 9 1s equals 69. We check with our standard algorithm. 9 plus 0 is 9, 6 is 69. And then we can know that by checking our vertical placement of the standard algorithm, we came up with the same answer as using our place value chart. For the next problem, we want to look at what happens when we are modeling a 1-digit by a 2-digit number using the chip model. In this particular problem, we want to solve the equation 4 times 34. We know that in using units, we can say that this is 3 10s and 4 1s. Modeling on our chart using the chip value, we can lay that out as 3 10s and 4 1s. Looking at our equation, we see that we want 4 copies of 34, or 3 10s and 4 1s. We want to go ahead and use our chips to make that same copy. They're looking identical. You can have these pre-sorted, or you can grab them from the bag. As you can see, we now have 4 copies of 3 10s and 4 1s. To prepare for the next part, we can go ahead and write out our standard algorithm just because we know that we're going to be checking it this way. So with the vertical placement, we want to write out the standard algorithm. Now, what we can do is we can count how many ones we have as well as how many tens we have. So we know that if we have 4 groups of 4 ones, in total, that's going to equal 16 ones. Hopefully we know this from our math facts, but if we need to use our hands to count as well, that's a possibility. If we want to come over to our standard algorithm, we can do the same thing. We know that 4 groups of 4 ones is going to equal 16 ones. Now when we look at our tens, we can again count them up. We have 4 groups of 3 tens. We know that that's going to equal 12 tens. Coming to our standard algorithm, 4 groups of 3 tens is going to be 12 tens. Now the problem becomes that we know that we need to regroup. When we're regrouping, we want to look at bundles. In a base 10 system, we know that a group of 10 is how we bundle together. So looking that 16 ones is more than 10 ones, we can just pick up 10 we can pick up 10 ones and exchange them for another 10. We want to make sure we don't forget that. Now we know that we are left with 6 ones. So you can even draw an arrow here that lets you know that you added another 10. Regardless, we know that we are now left with 6 ones. Now we come over to the tens column, and here we again have more than 10. So we're going to pick 10 of the 10 discs, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And once again, we can't just take these away. We have to group them together, bundle them, and exchange them for now a hundreds disc. So we know that if we were to write underneath this, get a new piece of paper, we know that we have, in our 3 columns, we have 6 ones, 3 tens, and 1 hundred. Then we know that we can just add these together. And if we add together 100 plus 3 tens plus 6 ones, we get 136. Now, of course, to check our work, we want to come back to the standard algorithm, where we've already written that 16 came from 4 groups of 4 ones. And here we had 4 groups of 3 tens, which gave us 120. Oh, there we go. Now we add these together. We know 6 plus 0 is 6, 2 plus 1 is 3, and 1 gives us a total of 136. We double check, does this match what we found using our chips and our place value cards? Indeed it does. 136, 136, and that is how you multiply using a chip model and a place value model.